Hey there, welcome back to Total Geek Baltimore presents I Am Baltimore, and today I am bringing you Avengers No Road Home. That's the 10-part series that's just came out. It was really kind of a great series. Weekly series, so you got it done very quickly. It's by Al Ewing, Jim Zub, and Mark Waid. So it was, collaboration between the three of them. If you remember, this was actually a weekly series that happened last year called Avengers No Surrender, which is a 10-part series as well with the same creative studio behind it. And this is basically the sequel to it, and it was really, really good. I'm glad that they didn't, go pace for pace with the exact same kind of story as No Surrender. This was a little bit different, which was good, and it allowed for a lot of growth. In No Surrender, it was basically the entirety of the Avengers teams coming together. This was focused on 7 characters, so it was a lot more focused on them, which was great. So you have Hercules, you have Vision, Scarlet Witch, Spectrum, Hawkeye, Hulk, and Rocket Raccoon, randomly. And to tie this back into No Surrender, you also have Voyager, which is one of the Eternals, like Grandmaster and Challenger, coming into this. She was holding the Challenger prisoner. When she finds out about what's going on in this moment, she says she has to go help the Avengers, and help them she does. So this is a 10-part weekly series. It was really, really great. I enjoyed it immensely because I thought it gave great depth and characterization to the characters and allowed for them to kind of grow and get some interactions that you don't see a lot, basically Rocket with anybody. And it basically starts with Nyx, who is the Queen of the Night from the Greek lore. She goes to Olympus and slaughters every single Olympian there. Of course, Hercules not being there. She and her children basically have been locked away from Olympus by Zeus, and she's freed, and she takes her children and she uses the night shards to try and kill all the people. So she successfully wipes out Olympus, and Hercules goes there with the Avengers and discovers, what's going on. All of the gods are killed, and Nyx will come in and she fights the Avengers and says, "I killed the gods. What makes you think I can't kill you?" And of course, you have Hulk, and this time he's the immortal Hulk, so not dead. And he and Hawkeye have some really great, interesting scenes together because Hawkeye killed Bruce Banner back in Civil War II, so that was kind of a sore subject between the two of them, even though Banner asked him to, should something happen. So now it's Hulk in control, and it's pretty interesting to see them together. Hypnos, who is the Lord of the Sleep, brings Hulk, Hawkeye, and Rocket into their own little sleep dream world, and that's where they kind of play out their kind of scenes together and character beats. What I did like about this series a lot is that each chapter, each issue, basically, with the exception of 1 or 2, used one character as the narrator for it, and each of those issues spotlighted that character pretty well. One of the really great ones, because I love her, Spectrum, Monica Rambeau. Her issue was really great because she really wrestled with the idea of immortality. And what does that mean? Is she actually immortal? She can turn into light energy and interface with that. She doesn't need a body. And so she's kind of trying to come to terms with, is she immortal? What does that mean? How is she going to interact with people that she loves? Her mother, the guy that she's seeing, Blue Marvel. And, that is a really kind of fascinating dilemma with heroes. Mortality is a big question. And I was really pleased we got to explore that a little bit more with her. I think the part that I really didn't enjoy, and it's, you know, I get that they're bringing him in, and this was the spot to do it, but Conan. Conan comes into this series midway through. Uh, uh, Scarlet Witch is thrust in the Hyborian Age with Conan, and he saves her, and she's blind at this point, and they have to kind of stumble through and figure out how to get back to her world. And of course, when they do find the way, he comes along with her. So he's taken out of the Hyborian Age and brought into, the main world with the rest of the Avengers. And Conan the Barbarian is an interesting property. They've been working with it for a while, and now they finally have it back under Marvel. And he's going to be coming in with the Savage Avengers soon. So I get that they're trying to bring him in and make it work. However, I just don't really care for the character. So it's kind of hard for me to feel anything. Did he have some cool beats? Yeah, sure. But I'm just, oh well. Um, all the way through this, you have Vision, who is dying. He's been dying for a while now. Something's wrong with his parts. We're not really sure what's happening with him. He's not sure what's happening with him. Spectrum actually merges with him for a while to try to help him boost him up and figure out how to take down Nyx. And that was kind of fascinating to kind of, a synthezoid is effectively immortal. She's trying to deal with her immortality. We also have Hercules, who is an immortal godling. So there's a lot of ways for that to kind of be brought to the forefront. And they do talk about that, which is kind of fascinating for, the story as a whole. No Road Home is talking about the Avengers going on this quest, trying to stop Nyx, and it's basically an all hands on deck situation when she, gets all the shards of herself together and is able to turn out the lights everywhere, all around the galaxy, the cosmos. Everything goes dark, and that's, really bad for the world. And one moment that was really, really kind of fun to see was the Avengers world coming together, which Blue Marvel was in charge of. You had Lightning there as well. Pod, I believe, was in there. Tony Ho. So it was really kind of cool to see them come together. Like, yeah, they're still a part of the Avengers, initiative world franchise, so to speak. So that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that part to it too, because I love seeing all the characters that you do and love and enjoy, but you don't get to see them very often. And now you see that yes, they are actually doing something. They are, being a part of it. So that I like that a lot. As for the end of this, I don't think they quite stuck it that well. It was a little bit unsatisfying to me, because now we're clearly, this is going to be, this is the sequel to No Surrender, No Road Home, but clearly there's going to be, a third one. So I get that in comics everything's ongoing and stories build upon other, but I wanted a little bit more closure for this, a little bit more story beat endings. So that was a little frustrating that I thought, we didn't get a little bit of. We have a really great insight into the characters when the Earth asks each of the Avengers what their desire is. And you got to see each moment with them what they really wanted, what their weakness, what their desire, what their love, what they needed and wanted. And I thought that was a great way to show that element into it, getting us to feel for them and to really, care for them and understand what they're going through. I thought that was really great. So in the final of the series here, you have them going to, which I actually really love, the House of Ideas. If you know Marvel, that's their name, the House of Ideas. Marvel Comics, the House of Ideas. And they actually Vision goes to the House of Ideas to defeat Nyx. And there are some really brilliant, amazing, and wonderful scenes throughout the last issue that are just incredible. and Vision taunts her and says, the way I'm going to win is by creation. Creation is the opposite of darkness. The light of imagination, the power of creation, the place of creation, and the house of ideas, which coincidentally, I believe, is the house that showed up in Marvel 1985, which is a miniseries that came out a few years ago. It's this, nondescript house in Long Island where the House of Ideas was born, which is a really kind of a sweet kind of nod to, the one above all, who created all these House of Ideas. And so he brings out these astonishing, these amazing, these incredible creations, these marvels, so to speak, that help defeat Nyx. And this is a very meta, concept, meta kind of story beat for the Avengers to take. Kind of fourth wall busting a little bit, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was really beautiful. Not quite sure super successful. I thought it was a little didn't fulfill me the way I wanted to, the comic to. But we did get a resolution to it. Nyx is destroyed. And then we get, what happens afterwards. We have the Immortal Hulk banner walking the streets in Michigan. We have Rocket saying, well, I can cross the Avengers off my bucket list. And you have Vision being restored to life and not being under threat of death anymore. And he and Wanda have some sort of, a pleasant relationship now, which is kind of nice. Conan is in the Savage Land, which I'm sure we'll see him in the Savage Avengers. So that's kind of cool. And then you have Hercules off in space with about a year, I think it's a year later that it takes place. He's in space with the Kree Nova Horsemen. And that's kind of interesting to see that kind of display happening. And then you have Zeus and the Olympians being reborn on a space voyage. So that's kind of interesting. They're kind of being posited as the new Eternals, which I know in the MCU synergy with the comics is happening. I think that they're trying to make the Olympians more like the Eternals and have Hercules in the movie. So I feel like this is like how they're gonna wave it in and make it happen. So we'll see about that. I'm not really sure about that at the moment. I like the Eternals as they are, separate from the Olympians. But we'll see. You have Voyager coming back to where Challenger was being held and finding out he's escaped. So yeah, this is definitely going to lead into something else, which I'm excited about. Another weekly series. Yes, please. I'm signed up for it so much. But I think Al and Jim and Mark did a fantastic job. They really get these characters. You can tell that they love them and that they have affection for them. And it really shows. I really like the way that they handled them. I thought that was really great. I was promised a death, didn't get it, so I'm a little kind of like, even though I know that death is kind of overrated in comics, I kind of hope for a little bit something. But overall, I really like this series. I definitely suggest you get it. No Road Home, Avengers, weekly series, 10 issues. It's fantastic. The art is really great. It's very consistent and very good. So I definitely think you should take a chance and get this comic. So let me know what you think about Avengers No Road Home. Like, subscribe, and share. And as always, it's all geek to us. See you soon.